Hi, this is an initiative by Jungle Bells, and it's about the controversy or whatever you can say, misunderstanding, confusion, discussion going in social media about Supreme Court's Honorable Supreme Court's order regarding wildlife. And as Jungle Bells, Emangi and her team gets a lot of questions from the people. What is happening and what is exactly future of wildlife tourism at large. Many youngsters also want to make career in this field, which is fast expanding, and in country like ours, where we have got loads of wildlife as well as places. So, to make wildlife tourism as a career, this can be a big setback or confusion. What is my career in this? So, what we thought is who better than Mr. Sunil Limaye, who is our today's, I would say, guest, because he's part of our family and he supports every wildlife activity from heart. Another senior member in the family of wildlifers will be our right terminology for Sunil sir. And just a formal introduction for him. He is an Indian Forest Service officer from 88 batch. And after retiring from Indian Forest Services for Maharashtra State, he is currently member of Central Empower Committee, New Delhi, and which happens to relate with or work with Supreme Court as well as judicially also. And obviously that makes him one of the best person to comment or guide us on these things about the wildlife policies. And he has been work on many places in Maharashtra forest. Sanjay Gandhi National Park. He himself was a PCCF wildlife for our Maharashtra state. And not only that, as a wildlife forest officer, he himself travels a lot on his own, good trekker, likes to speak with people at ground level, and can think about, you can say, from 360 degrees about the wildlife. So we welcome Sunil sir in this informal chat. We will be keeping it totally informal, and it's not about boring analysis of some order of Supreme Court or something like that. It's just about to make people aware about wildlife tourism at large and how wonderful it can be for everybody associated with it. Then Emangi, who heads Jungle Bells, and it's a company or organization which does not just thrive on tourism of wildlife, but make women, urban women and kids aware about wildlife and our responsibility towards wildlife. So, both of you.
Thank you. So, Sunil sir, tiger safari is banned. This was what came as a verdict, and I was flooded with calls. There were a lot of people with butterflies in their stomach, and there was confusion. So, this sudden discussion about Supreme Court order, and so a similar verdict was passed in 2012. So, what can you elaborate a little bit on this, how it's come?
Yeah, Namaskar. To make it very simple, I will have certain information for you. See, when Supreme Court says that tiger safari is banned in the core area, that does not mean our regular tiger safari is banned. Our regular tiger safari, where you go to the forest area, you hire a gypsy, you get into the vehicle, you go to see the animals in the core area, that is totally allowed. For that purpose, there is no ban from the Supreme Court side. Whatever tourism activity, those are being conducted in buffer areas, those are also allowed. This thing goes back to the problem of the Corbett, where in Corbett National Park, a thing was made, or it was decided by those authorities that they will have one closed tiger safari in core area. Zoo type. So that area is called as Pakro. So Pakro is a part of the core area, and government or the full authority, they decided we should have a safari over there. Many people, they come to such tiger reserve. When they go and if they don't see the animals, most of them they get frustrated, sometimes they get irritated. Anybody who wanted to come to tiger reserve, that person or those person will always come with one objective only, to see the tiger. So the first work of all the people who are working in the tourism is to tell the people, when you go to any national park, any sanctuary or any protected area or any tiger reserve, seeing tiger only, that should not be your prime objective. Always go and see the forest area. If you see the forest area very properly, you will enjoy that safari. And if you see the tiger, that will be a bonus. So this is the main thing about the tiger safari, but people don't understand because everybody wants to see the tiger in its natural habitat. So it was decided that we will have a tiger safari in the core area. So many trees were felled. People went against that in the Supreme Court. Then Supreme Court also decided, and we will have one thing where we will give certain direction regarding the type of safaris that should be allowed in the forest area. So what Supreme Court says in this earlier order, Supreme Court says that MOEF and CC, that is the parent department, will form a committee. They will have a committee. They will have particular members in that, and what they will do. So I will read it very carefully that you can understand. Very simple things are there. Court said the said committee will recommend the measures for restoration of the damages, that is the damages which were done in the Pakro, that is in Corbett.
This is related to only that.
That is, it is only related to Corbett, yes.
All other parts.
But while passing this, court says you do this thing first and then think about the tiger safari in total.
At large.
At large. So tiger safari here means this kind of tiger safari, because regarding the general tiger safari for which we go,
Yes.
Supreme Court has already made it clear, NTC has already made it clear how that safari should be.
Here coming to one very specific question, which is personally also I would like to know. त्याला आपण म्हणतो की is there terminology like tiger safari? There should be, or rather, many we casually say tiger safari.
Yeah.
But is there such terminology exists?
No. There is a terminology called safari. See, safari, this terminology has come from our African experience.
Exactly.
Because when we sit in a vehicle and when we go and when the animals, they are moving, they are in the open, that is normally called as a safari. So there is no such thing as a tiger safari. As we visit tiger area, we say tiger safari.
Yeah.
But here the safari means closed safari, where there will be a permanent fencing. Tigers will be released inside. They are not in a natural condition. They will be a released tiger. So they will be captive in a particular area. You will get in the vehicle. You will go and see there. See, because your chances of seeing the tiger will be more because you are in the captivity. So everybody wanted that one because there is a plan to have a tiger safari in Tadoba also.
Yeah.
Tadoba also, the area which was selected, that was in Padmapur. Those who go to Tadoba, they know it's in the buffer area, but it's in the tiger corridor. So that also problem came there. So Supreme Court said no, in any case there should not be safari in such areas. But Supreme Court says we will not take a decision. Let the forest officer, senior members, correct, experts should come together. So what Supreme Court said, first thing is that, then they said the damage that has been done in Corbett. Then third thing is that you now decide what you are supposed to do. Now that they said inter alia, committee should consider and recommend. Now this is more important. First, the question as to whether tiger safari shall be permitted in the buffer area or in the fringe area. Now see, remember, here the tiger safari is captive tiger should be there,
captive tiger.
which will be released. So whether in core, no, it is not allowed at all. But whether that should be allowed in buffer area, on the fringe area, then if such safari can be permitted, then what should be the guidelines for establishing such safaris? And while considering the aforesaid aspect, the committee shall take into consideration the following factors. What is the approach? The approach must be ecocentric, isn't it? Another thing is what they said, it is a ecocentrism and it should not be anthropocentrism. So ecocentrism is the most important. That's why called as it is an ecotourism. So
not animal centric.
No animal centric. The precaution must be applied for ensure that the least amount of environment damage it should cause. So it's clear that it should not be in a core area. Now, most important is that the animal source shall not be from the outside the tiger reserve.
Okay.
So if you say that in a particular tiger reserve, in Pakro you wanted to have a tiger safari, it will be tiger from outside.
No,
that is not at all. Supreme Court said then from here you will get the tigers. So injured tiger. The tigers which have been treated upon, they are quite good, but they cannot be released in the wild.
Correct.
Such kind of tigers. So what they said, the animal source shall not be from the outside the tiger reserve, only injured, conflicted, or orphan tigers may be exhibited as per the guidelines given in 2016.
Okay.
The Supreme Court judgment was there. NTCA, which is the whole and sole authority as far as the tiger areas are concerned, they have issued certain guidelines. The very simple thing is that tiger safaris are not permitted. It was only related to the corbett areas, but inter alia now it is applicable to all. So they gave this task to the committee. Then committee had discussions. They spoke with so many people. They spoke with certain field directors of the tiger region. They come to a conclusion and was a recommendation given by the Supreme Court. What was the most important thing is that no tiger safari will be allowed in core area.
So means here the tiger safari which we are referring is like a confined area tiger
Confined
safari.
area.
It's like a zoo within the forest.
Zoo within the forest. That should not be allowed.
That should not be allowed.
Yeah.
So it should be
And
very
then
clear.
this 2025 judgment is not overnight. It is outcome of a 2016
It
process is
started
going on.
from 2016 and
that
in March,
process is going on.
and then in March 24 and then after in 25 it was decided, let us brainstorm, we will find out, we'll speak with the people and what is good for the tourism, what is not good for the tourism. How, because see, whenever the tiger gets injured, when the tiger gets orphaned, when the tiger gets out of the completed area, normal thing is that you catch the tiger, you send it to the rescue center and lifelong it will remain in the rescue center. So what to do about those tigers? Why to keep them in?
It's like a cage.
Yes. So instead of this, let us release in the
Some
safari.
open area. So they can
that's
survive
a-
on their own.
Yeah, so that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But now where this safari should be? If you go to the Gir, you must be knowing that there is also cage safari there just outside the main area. So people, those who don't see the tigers over there, they go to that lion over there, they go to that safari area. They have a look, but at least they can say, yes, we had been to the Gir and we could see the lions. Same thing, if you want to go and see the tigers, if you can't see, and if there is a safari, that's a captivity, safari in captivity.
But you get a feel of forest.
You get the feel of the forest because all those captive animals will be released in a big open area, which will be fenced from outside.
But
So
it
this
won't
is
be
the
like a
main
cage
thing.
like thing.
Right.
Then what they said, it should not be done in core area. Committee also suggested it should not be in core area. Then where it can be. Whether it can be in buffer area, because if you take the example of the Tadoba, yes, Morley is there.
Yeah.
So you can go to Alizanga, anywhere. Can you have that safari over there? Yes, you can have. But that safari should not be on a forest land. Because in buffer areas, you have got the forest land, non-forest land, community land, revenue land. So any land you can choose, you can have a safari over
But not
there.
forest land.
Not forest land. It should not be on forest because the forest land should be kept as a green cover only. No custom should be done. On the contrary, you take the non-green land, non-forest land, convert it into the forest, have safari over there.
So it will be indirectly increasing forest area also.
Perfect. So it will be increasing the forest area. At the same time, you will get a feeling that you are seeing the tigers in the natural habitat. That is the main thing. Another saying, you can do it on the fringe area. So fringe means just outside the buffer. There also you can do. Now the buffer ends over there. Now there are a lot of such areas. See, now it is the most important thing about the local administration and the state government. If they really wanted to revive the tigers, actually the tigers won't be revived like this, but at least they will get a freeness. At least they will go free. They will not remain in the cages. They will not be imprisoned lifelong. They will have some kind of good life. And people will also understand the tiger. And all such kind of tigers, orphan and out of conflict, they will get a new lease of life. So that is the rationale behind it. So nobody should feel worried about it. That's a very good decision taken
Rather,
by
it
the
will be a
Supreme
big
Court.
boost to tourism also because a lot of new thing will happen and new avenues of revenue for locals will be.
That is there even for the guides also. This will be a new horizon because if you take people inside the area where the tigers have been released, then guides will have to tell what kind of these tigers are, how they have been out of conflict. They were in prison for a life, but they get a new lease of life. So this is a new thing for the guides.
Exactly, this will be a new avenue.
It's a new avenue. So that is the simplest part of this.
And even those farmers who are not earning much out of their farming near buffer or near forest,
they can also come together and give land for this kind of
They
thing.
can offer land because in Tadoba, you
Yeah.
must have heard, they have started one project called Cocoon. Community operated and community owned. There is a place called Smoothhold.
And yes,
Then out of some CSR money, administration is
Right.
paying them. They are not cultivating anything over, and that area is getting revived.
it's a habitat.
Perfect. And after some days, safari can be starting that
Yeah.
area. Because already the herbivore animals have started coming over there. This is just outside Mohorli. If you start from Mohorli, if you start coming to the Nagpur side, you will get that Mudhol
That
area.
Barora Road.
Near,
Mudholi.
Road near Shegaon.
Shiga.
So that's a perfect, that's the right way of doing it. So this kind of thing will definitely help. So nobody should feel offended or getting
Rather,
scared that the safari will be solved.
it will create more job opportunities also for locals.
And people will also understand why this has been done.
Exactly.
Because at least because of the Supreme Court judgment and all the controversy or some kind of fear that it was generated among the people, now people will start thinking, why Supreme Court has done this like that, and why it was necessary, how we can help the tigers which are out of conflict areas, or some tigers which should be never out of the prison, that is the cages.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity. So everybody can now think over it, and everybody should support this idea. If you want to really have this captivity type of tiger safari, that should be near some forest area, but not in forest area.
Yes.
Outside core and buffer area, it is on the fringe land. It should be on the revenue land.
Exactly.
So that land will be used
Or private land also.
Perfect. The private land also can be acquired.
Farmlands also can be done.
Perfect. And that area will be turned into a forest area. Perfect. That is the only thing.
It's like creating new habitats,
Perfect.
enclosed habitats.
It's a new habitat, new forest area, new addition to the protected area. So all such
So
areas.
automatically herbivores also get protected over there.
Perfect. So this is the way that committee has decided, and Supreme Court also agreed, and they passed this verdict.
This is wonderful information. If you
Yes.
can narrate it, it will be easier for the listeners.
Correct. So yeah, I will give a gist later, but I would just like to ask. Now you've clarified very well on this point. People also want to know what are the guidelines which currently exist for wildlife tourism. So there's a lot of confusion for that. So if you can just
There are 2-3 guidelines. Most simple. See,
Yeah.
guidelines are
Related to
normally.
tourists.
related to tourism.
Perfect. See, one thing is the ecotourism policy of the
Right.
state, normally, which is applied to the protected areas, which is only the national park, sanctuary, or conservation areas. When the guidelines are being issued regarding the tiger areas, they are being issued by the National Tiger Conservation Authority. Because there is only one section in Wildlife Protection Act, that is Section 38, which gives all the power to the NTCA. NTCA is a statutory body. Supreme Court has also agreed.
Right.
If whatever the guidelines, those have been issued by the NTCA,
Correct.
should be followed by the state government.
Correct.
But there is little bit confusion, some kind of conflict between the guidelines issued by the NTCA and whether it has to be accepted by the states or not. NTCA says, as far as the tiger zoo is concerned, there should not be any tourism in core area during monsoon.
Yeah.
And that has to be followed by each and everyone, and most of the states, they are following it. All the core areas, those are closed for the tourism during the monsoon period. That
What is the
15
logic behind it? Just
See, I will tell you, logic is that normally that's the mating period.
Correct.
That is the period when a lot of rains will be there. That is the period when this new greenery will start coming up. That is the period when the herbivora mating time is there, and herbivora will give life to next generation. So everything happens during that area.
that's why disturb.
Right. And why we say this is a core area? See, core area is a concept for we people. Wildlife doesn't understand core and buffer.
Yes.
But wildlife, what they can understand, if nobody is coming into a particular area, if that area remains the inviolate,
Secluded sort of.
they understand that this is our area.
This is
That's-
private,
Yeah,
sort
so
of.
that's a safe haven for them. So in that safe haven, during that particular period, I cannot use the word exactly privacy for the wildlife, but
Yeah.
a kind of privacy
Kind of
to the
privacy.
wildlife. And that's why we should not go to the core area, at least during these 4 months. There is one school of thought which says, why you want to go to the core area at all? Don't go to core area even after the monsoon season. But another school of thought says, in core areas also quite big areas, if nobody goes over there, if tourism is not there, it is quite possible. Certain thing which will happen in core area, they will never come into the light if the tourists don't go. You see, tourists will act as the eyes and ears of the administration. So if we do the proper tourism, well-taught tourism, it's a eco-tourism, guides are well-trained, people are well-trained, then at least we'll get the knowledge. At least in 20% of the core area, people will move and they will give the information. You can have so many examples where tourists have helped the administration when something goes wrong inside a core area. For this purpose, what one can do is, instead of having only particular 20% of the core area open, keep shifting regularly,
Yes.
so that all the
Is
area.
it being done?
It is not
Just
being done
curiosity
because,
was
yes, no, it is not being done because people, most of them, they are a little bit worried. If we do it, what should happen? So that decision should be taken at the PCCF
But
level.
it is
In the State Board of Wildlife, if the decision is taken, then it can be implemented very properly. See, I remember
means at any given time, out of 100%, some 20%.
Some 21 should be allowed, but
today this route is there, next season it won't be there.
so this year this 20%, next year this 20%.
But that's a wonderful thing.
And that should be there, everything should be there in the tiger conservation plan, because all the work of the tiger areas, that is being governed by the tiger conservation plan.
Yeah.
So this way we can do. Another thing is that what kind of tourism that should be. It has to be typical ecotourism. All the rules and regulations should be followed. Because most of the SMC people, once they enter into the core area, see, most of people think that if they go to the core area, they will certainly see the tigers.
Correct.
That is not the thing.
Yes.
That is not the correct thing. Many times you will see the tigers, those who are moving in the buffer areas, a lot of sighting is there in buffer areas. You
Yes,
take the
yeah.
example of Tadoba.
Correct.
Most of the times you more number of tigers in buffer area.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that becomes now the duty of the foresters and the guides to tell the people, don't think that core area means more tigers. And that's why everywhere interpretation center has to be there. And how the safari should work. So if you go to the Mohorli, I will take the example of Tadoba, because most of the people, they are
No,
on Tadoba.
and
Go to the Mohorli. First, when you get the ticket, you visit the nature intelligence center. Go to the NIC, see the NIC, guide should tell, this is my forest, this is what you can see, these are the rules and regulations. And if you see a tiger, don't create any problem. Don't go, don't run, don't ask our guide or the driver to take the
Chase
jeep
it,
as
yeah.
near as possible. Don't chase the animal. So this is more important, because everywhere I have seen people, they will say yes to everything, and whenever the tiger is there, everybody will clamor, everybody will climb on the
obviously everybody
vehicle,
want to
everybody will shout. So that kind of thing people have to follow, and stricter punishment should be there. Guides license cancel should be there. Even I will say the tourists should be blacklisted if they do it. They should be
Many
blacklisted.
times what happens is tourists get no punishment.
They should get punishment, but that punishment should be that should be a reformative punishment.
You see,
If I do anything wrong in a core or buffer area, for 6 months I should
would
not be
not
allowed to
tourist
go to
in
India.
India.
So that can be done, and that should be done. So we're asking, so tourism, one, it's simple in any kind of forest area. What are the dress code? How you should behave in the forest area?
Correct.
How you should observe the forest? How you should observe the wildlife? This tourism, normally the decision is being taken by the state government and
Okay.
state administration. In
Okay.
case of tiger areas,
Okay.
it is as per the guideline. So first guideline is what they say, 20% of the tourism in core areas, not more than that. During monsoon, no tourism. In buffer areas,
Yeah.
it is you have to decide how your tourism should be.
Okay.
But in buffer, you can have a tourism provided you are sure that the roads are well maintained,
Right.
where the roads are there. Tourists will not face any problem if they go to the forest areas.
Right.
If all the precautions are there, that can be done.
Okay.
Most of the people think that in normal sanctuary areas also, where there is no core area, but a regular tourism can be done.
like Tipeshwar or
Right. People think that in Tipeshwar also there should be tourism in monsoon areas. But when I was PCCF, I spoke with the people, I spoke with the local people who need sustainable livelihood. I spoke with the guys. So I had decided wherever the roads are good, wherever the safety is of prime importance, wherever I can say yes, any tourist can go to my forest. There we started tourism in monsoon also.
Okay.
And this year also, when there was certain problem, when I spoke with the then PCC Wildlife Maharashtra, he also agreed. So wherever the roads are good in monsoon also, we will have our safari open, and that they did.
Okay.
So for safari, if you follow certain rules and regulations, safari is always good.
Right.
Safari is good if people behave nicely, if the tourists will understand.
Right.
See, always one has to remember, all these protected areas, they are maximum 5% of the total landmass. They are mainly for the wildlife.
Right.
We don't have any exclusive right in those areas. So we have to remember we are entering in such a area which is only
For
maintained for the wildlife.
Wildlife, yeah.
See, I always have tell the example, whenever the guest will come to your home, you will always welcome. The same way wildlife will welcome you. But how you should behave in that guest home, that is totally up to the host. And if the host has gotten certain rules and regulations, so wild animals for which we have created certain rules and regulations, that you have to follow. If you don't follow, then you are at all not welcome, and you should be asked to leave that area.
And that is not necessarily a tiger sanctuary. It can be wolf sanctuary.
Anywhere.
Anywhere where wildlife is there.
You want to go to grassland areas, you go to the Karmorlik area. So wherever. So wildlife is most important. They are the host. You are the guest. You are going to meet them. So whatever the rules and regulations which have been made for the wildlife, in any case, in whatever the case, maybe you are supposed to follow it. If you follow it, then there is no problem.
Yes. So as you said, the interpretation center, which is very good, but people come very close to the safari timing. They hop in the gypsy and then they leave. So they wouldn't get time in the morning. They may visit afterwards. But does it make sense for someone to approach from the department or someone who's there to go and talk to those people when they are seated in the safaris, which will give them all these guidelines that they need to observe inside?
Perfect. Whatever you have said, Hemang, is perfect. If people doesn't have time, actually, I will say,
Correct.
if you are going for a safari, if you are going to see a wildlife, you should have ample time, and then only you should
Correct.
go.
Correct.
If you want to hop in and hop off, better not to go.
Yes.
So the
Free time.
best way would be if somebody says, I want to go for a safari in the evening, then it must be there. It should be written on the ticket. In the morning, you have to visit NIC,
And then
get
go
your
to the
ticket
gate.
stamp that you have seen the NIC.
Exactly. So make it
That
this thing.
won't solve much of the problem, because I will say, okay, I will go to NIC, I will sit there, I will come back.
Correct.
That's what
But
I
at
think. So
least
at
someone
least
will
people
go there.
will see, because whatever you see visually, that will get
That will keep it in
imprinted.
mind.
But what you said, Hemangi, that is also a good option. If the safari gates are to be opened at 6 o'clock,
Right.
when around 5:45,
Correct.
we should all ask all the people to reach there, and we should brief them for 10 minutes
Correct.
on a
Correct.
megaphone, saying that these are the rules and regulations.
On a large digital screen.
Yes, and one certain thing is there, tiger is a bonus. You will be able to see the tiger, but before that, lot many things you can see here. Please see these things. That will be a good idea. That's a nice
You
thing.
can suggest that.
That can be
Like
done.
you
Yes.
are standing in a queue, long queues in Disneyland, and they display the safari on a digital screen.
Perfect.
So what is happening?
That is
Going
happening.
to happen
People
ahead.
watch it.
So
Correct.
people
People
keep
watch
on engrossed कि क्या हो रहा है? Anyway, they are waiting there.
Yes.
And that's a good idea. So to have the video screens over
Yeah, video
there,
screens.
because
Yeah.
more than listening, if you see the
See
visuals,
It is more
it gets
appealing, yeah.
imprinted very
Correct.
easily.
Correct.
True.
The last questions. What is the Forest Department's current stance on wildlife tourism? We've spoken from the tourist angle they should
Yes,
do.
yes.
What does the Forest Department, as you've been there on the other side, think of the tourists? and
I
tourism?
have got a specific suggestion come question. See, look, because a bit of a government system I have also got exposure with. Like in police, which job, policing is one job, to keep law and order. Detection is another.
Right.
That's why crime branch is there, and again CID is there.
Right.
Okay. So when forest department started, tourism was never part of forest department, to my knowledge.
Very good. You are perfect. Because in my college is also when I used to go for the treks, only trekkers used to go to the forest area.
So forest department is trained to handle wildlife, forest and people living around forest.
Right.
To handle tourist and to make policies about tourist is altogether different job. Actually,
Yes.
it's the service industry.
Bilkul.
So, is anything being done on that front to segregate for tourism within the forest department, like crime branch is there in every police department? This is a
No, that's a very right question. That's a pertinent question also, but at present it is not being done. Only we emphasis on the tourism, ecotourism. What kind of ecotourism is, we normally try to tell the people. And I also believe those who wear the khaki clothes, they are meant there for the crime detection, prevention,
Exactly, because it's
protection.
a-
So it is
enforcement
not.
job.
It is not their job. It's the enforcement job. So for the tourism, if you have got some separate kind of people. Those who
Cadre,
are
within the cadre.
especially all the people, researcher, those who are doing biology, ecology. If such people come to this kind of a separate thing that is within the forest department, who will specifically look after the ecotourism.
Right.
Because see, one thing forest department cannot do is whenever tourists come there, first my job is to look at them as a guest. Guests who are come to see the host, that is my wildlife.
Correct.
So the way with which we should speak with them, you need to have a different tone, different
The
language.
mindset itself.
Mindset is real, and that forest department is unable to handle.
And
One thing
that's
is
what
that
because it was
forest
not there
department,
right from
yeah.
beginning. It's-
One thing is that forest department doesn't have a large number of people
Yeah.
with them. Their main job is to go and look up the forest
Forest.
area. So if you can have certain things which I will not say separate cadre, but a separate group of people inside the forest department
Right.
who will be given the opportunity to work in the forest department, especially and only this for the tourism purpose. That will have a better sort of a thing, good administration also.
And even for
Good
department
tourism
also.
Yeah.
Department will also good because department can
Every
take
time it
care.
goes into lobbies between people
Because
and
my guard, my forester, my range officer, they can do a lot of different work. They can go to the forest
Yeah.
and they can do their own work of preservation and enforcement. So this is a good idea. And that can be thought of. I think we can give this thought to our PCFF Wildlife of Maharashtra, who can think and who can
Someday,
decide it.
well, it has to be
Someday it can be
initiated.
done, yes, and someday it will come also. Somebody may go to the court also saying that we let the forest department do their own job and there should be separate kind of people who will do this tourism.
Correct.
The way we have the Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation,
exactly.
but there also they don't have the people. Everything they sublet the work,
Exactly.
and that should be done. Everything should be done by the forest department, but with specifically trained and knowledgeable people.
I think that's
Yeah, that's it. So just to summarize, I think we are very clear about what was the entire confusion last few days. Sunil sir has explicitly, you can watch this video a couple of times, to make it more clearer and pass on the message to the rest of the people, share this video so that it becomes clear and no one is, in an ambiguity that this is going to close or that is going to close, because that is never going to happen. He also stressed about the wildlife tourism aspects which need to be followed very thoroughly when you're visiting the parks and maintain a decent mode of conduct when you visit safaris. So thank you so much, Sunil sir. I think
Thank
it was
you.
a great insight. I mean, what you've
So,
given.
so
we
all
thank
those
you.
who are watching, who will be watching, who will be sharing, I will only say, you choose wildlife tourism as your career fearlessly, and it's a great state we have got here, great country where wildlife is in abundance, and rather by joining wildlife tourism in any way, you are being part of its protection. Is all.
Correct.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.